You're listening to Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technologically advanced silhouette decoy on the market. First Light, the best hunting gear on the planet. Go farther, stay longer. And Ducklander Calls, tradition, education, and quality. Built to hunt.
Everybody, welcome back to the Union 0430. This is episode 230. I don't think it's been a very, very long time since I've had this many people on the screen at one time. So I'm pretty excited. And if you can tell, I've got a new lighting thing. I don't know what to say. But anyways, hopefully it's blocking some of my wrinkles and whatever. But here we go. No, it's not a Ellithorpe.
Accentuated. It's a key light.
This episode of the Union 0430 is brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, First Light Hunting, and Ducklander Calls. And of course, the voice of the Union 0430, Captain Jeff Coates. Thank you to all of the sponsors and Jeff Coates for helping out and making this show possible. If you're watching, you could see Craig is here. Philly is working. He's fighting crime. And then we've got the two Brians. We got Brian Halbleib coming to us from Pennsylvania. And we've got Brian Snuffleupagus Ellithorpe coming to us all the way from Ohio. Thanks, boys, for coming on. I know it's been 2 or 3 weeks now. I've been asking the two Brians. I'm like, can you guys come on the show? Can you guys come on the show? Can you guys come on? And you guys are just, I don't know, you guys got way too much shit on the go.
Jeff Coates hates to see me coming on this show.
Well, you know what? I don't know. I've lost count. I don't know, man. I don't know who's in the lead. I don't know if you're in the lead or if Jeff Coates is in the lead. I know Jeff isn't keeping track, but
I lost track too.
Yeah, we'll just call it a tie.
It's fine with me.
Yeah.
One thing I can tie Jeff Coates on, I'm cool with
that. Yeah, no doubt. It's good company to be in. Yeah, like I'm excited to get into this show because there's a lot of stuff going on that I don't know about. And that's what I want to, because I know you guys are all friggin' all over the place and there's stuff going on and there's activities and I don't know everything. I see a little bit on social media and I talk to all of you fairly often, but I still don't know what the fuck you're at half the time. So it's good. It'll be a good show and get everybody. I know Halbleib has done some traveling. Ellithorpe, you're being boss man down at a big project that's, you know, I know you're only 19 years old.
Anyway.
What's that?
I'm 2 hours east of my house, so I'm probably halfway to Brian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then Craig, who was late coming on for the timing, he just bust in the door and was like, "I'm off loading groceries. I'll be there in a second." And there's something going on with him. So before we get going, we're turning the mic over to Craig because he's got something cooking and I want to know what it is. All right, Craig.
It's just been something after another. So I was having some issues with my truck like 2 weeks ago. Got it in for like regular maintenance and that. Been something going on in the front, tires and stuff like that. Get all that done. Then I went up to Larder Lake, like Kirkland Lake area. So 5-hour trip for me on the weekend. On the way up there, something's not sounding right. Got some clunking going on, some ticking going on over here. So make the trip up and then make the trip back. And it's like by the time I rolled into my driveway, it sounded like I was dragging metal garbage cans behind me. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I was also waiting for new tires to come in to Costco. On the way home, as I'm listening to all this noise rattling around in the truck, I get a call from Costco like, yeah, your tires aren't in for your appointment tomorrow. So how about Thursday afternoon? I'm like, no, that's no good. Well, how about Friday afternoon? I said, that's worse. They're like, what about Saturday? I'm like, absolutely not. I don't come into Barrie on the weekends. And I'm like, all right, Thursday it is then. And then, I roll home, trucks banging and clamoring around. So when I went to work on Monday, so it's about a 40-minute drive to my office. So I took Carrie's car. Luckily, she was going to be home. And I left the truck with the keys on the seat in the driveway. I had messaged and called and left messages for the Ford dealership. On Sunday night, Monday morning, I'm at work, nothing. So I realized I saw some texts from the last time I had it in because they'll text you, let you know when it's ready.
Yep.
So then I text them and copy and paste all my messages and said, like, you need to go pick the truck up. Or I said, hey, I left some messages, haven't heard anything. They're like, how about Tuesday or Wednesday? I said, no. I said, it's at home right now.
Yeah.
Go pick it up. And I said, but I need my truck or something else by the end of the day. Kids have ball. And so when they had it in, they found that what was it? the rear differential seal's leaking.
The
I'm like,
flux
again?
capacitor.
So they're like, oh yeah, we replaced that. I'm like, good, because you already did that once at like 26,000 kilometers. So it's like something's obviously up with this thing.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yep, the brakes all needed to be reworked. And because I'd been complaining since the last time they did the brakes, I've been squealing and like shuddering if I have to brake hard and that. So they're like, yep, got all that fixed up. So I drove it home when I first picked it up, and it was great. And like I said, went up north, came back, it's garbage. So they picked it up, and then they're like, oh yeah, it turns out the bolt on the rotor was out. So that was all the noise I was hearing. And I'm like, oh, you mean like the rotors that you just fixed like a week and a half ago?
Oh.
And then they're like, oh, and I told them I thought the rear differential was still leaking. And they're like, no, it wasn't that. It was the rear pinion seal was leaking. I'm like, well, that seems awfully close to what you had already fixed. So you obviously fixed the wrong thing. I assume you fixed the wrong thing in the first place.
Yeah.
And they're like, good news, we had a part. It's all done. It'll be at your house for 5:00. But yeah, it's like, and then so I messaged them one last time. I said, okay, so that part with the issue with the brakes, did that lead to any other damage or anything like from you obviously not putting it back together properly? It's been crickets ever since. And they didn't leave any paperwork because they'll come pick up your vehicle and drop it off for you and that. But they always leave the paperwork. Yeah. And no paperwork, no paper trail of what's been done this time. So I'm like, I know, you fucked something up. And like, at least it seems to be okay now. But then, not to drag this on too long, so my tires had come into Costco, had an appointment today, but there was nothing on my account showing that the appointment had been changed. So it took me about an hour this morning to get through to somebody at Costco to determine that, yes, I did have an appointment for today. I drop it off. They're like, hour and a half. I'm like, all right, I'll go shop for an hour and a half in Costco. So I'm dragging groceries around. They call me an hour later. They're like, these are the wrong size tires that you ordered. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how did I screw up that bad, right? And they're like, oh, well, sometimes if you're going by model number, it only gives you so many options, and maybe you just clicked on the wrong one. But then when I got home, I looked again, and what had happened was I had ordered, because I took pictures of the tires that were on the truck when I was ordering them. I still had the snows on the truck at the time, which were a different rim, different tire, different size than what they were replacing, like for my all seasons. So I was like, oh, that's what happened. So yeah, now I've been waiting almost 2 weeks for these new tires. Still no new tires. Yeah. And so when I went out to get it, they're like, yeah, meet us over by the garage bay. So I go out there. The lady walks around, hands me the keys. I'm like, these are for a Honda. They're like, oh, what are you waiting for? I'm like, my Ford truck. And I'm looking at, they're like, well, which one's that? I'm like, the one that's still on the lift. So it's been now about a half hour since they called me while I was in the store to say that it was the wrong tires, to come grab it, and they take me up front and give me my refund and all that. So now it's been a half hour since they called me, and it's still on the hoist.
Whoa.
And I'm like, then I'm throwing all the groceries into the truck, and I get a text from Cam's. So our youngest, Cam, is 8. He's getting a call up to the big leagues. He's in U9 for baseball. He's getting called up to U11 tonight because he's just that good. And so I text back. I'm like, no, I'm busy at 7. It's like a half hour. The game's a half hour away for 6:45. They got to be there for 6:20. I'm like, I can't do it. Carrie's got a class tonight. So I messaged Carrie. She's like, that's fine. I'll skip it. She hasn't seen Cam play yet this year. She's like, I'll take him. So now I got to text the coach and say, yeah, he's in if you still want him. And then on my way home, I get a call from Carrie. She's like, any idea where Cam's baseball glove is?
Oh, boy.
I'm like, it's in the back of my truck from last night when we were at Caleb's game. So luckily, the game was still on my way home, of all places. And so then I had to stop, got there, found the coach, threw Cam's glove at him, jump into the truck so I can head home, get the groceries put away. And then Carrie, I messaged Carrie and said, yeah, coach has a glove. You just got to show up and grab it. She's like, well, she's like, are you coming up this road? Because I would love to grab your glove so I can play catch with Caleb while we're watching Cam's game. I'm like, no, I'm heading up. Like there was two options of road to go home on. Yeah. She's coming down this one. I'm going over this one.
Yeah, of course. Right.
So yeah, get home and I bought a bunch of stuff for the new announcement that's coming up, but the boys don't know about. So I had to rush that stuff in the house to get it put away so they don't find it, get the groceries, throw some food in my face, and then rush down here and get this all set up.
So Ashley Berta, Scott Rumble, Bill Kennedy, it worked. Craig is finally purchasing a dog, and his sons don't know about it. I know Gary will probably take video, so it'll be awesome once they know what you're doing. I'd love to see their reaction. Dude, I do not know how you could have kept that together today, because I wouldn't have been able to, and I don't mean like I would have lost my mind on them. I just think I would have just been like, I'm done. I'm done for today. I'm not playing anymore. I'm taking my ball and going home.
Yeah.
That's just
No, I just took my barbecue chicken and went home.
Well, so remember like 2 weeks ago, I was on here talking about my truck, right? So I just got my truck back today. That's been
really?
2 weeks.
Jesus.
And they've been 2 weeks trying to figure out what's going on with it. And last night they still couldn't figure it out. And today they found it was an open circuit somewhere.
Oh, really?
And that's what it was. So it's been 2 weeks now of fucking around with, oh man, it was just a nightmare.
Is that a Ford too?
Yeah.
I'll tell you how you guys fix that.
I don't know, buddy. They've been exploding up here. Those fucking Chevy motors are not doing so well.
I had
up
some
here.
transmission issues on mine not too long ago. They
Yeah.
had to flush it. It had that shuttering deal where, like, on the newer ones.
Just put a new tranny in my 2014.
Yeah.
Really?
So they flushed mine, and then there's this whole deal with, like, the active fuel management that, like, if that starts to screw up, it shutters too. So I bought this little delete kit thing, and now it's all fine. But it's just
Wouldn't
like,
you just love to go back to a carbureted engine?
I told my wife that the other day. I was like, they got 1968 Ford F100 on Marketplace right now for $4,000. I was like, I'm just gonna buy that.
Yeah.
Get rid of
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah, like the most
mechanical
complicated
that I
thing
can
you got to
fix.
do is clean the jets. Like that's the most complicated thing that there is.
Yeah, and all you do for that is you shove a bunch of ether down the throat, and then
Yeah.
let it burn itself out.
Carb cleaner.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're gonna save Halbleib for the end because he's a little bit more tame.
I got you all fooled.
Ellithorpe, dude, I bet you me and Halbleib will have full-on fucking conversations for like 3 days, and we do not hear a peep out of you.
I'll read it, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna, instead of reigniting this whole conversation, I'll just wait a couple.
I'm like, what in the fuck is this guy up?
Generally, I just am like, you guys will be texting while it's always in the middle of something that I'm doing. I'm like, I can't.
I think you're just always doing something.
It seems to be that way, yeah. It's just the stuff that I've been doing at work, I've just been so caught up, and then it's like on the weekends, Wes is just all over the place trying to do every possible thing under
Well,
the sun.
dude, I gotta tell you, I did see the videos the other day of when he got his boat and you put a trolling motor on it. Like
Booting around
that
on his own.
I
kid,
think everybody thinks I'm a psychopath, but it's like, if your 3-year-old could drive a boat too, you'd be out there with him too.
yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
I think, buddy, that kid looks proud as a peacock driving that boat and fishing. Like it's awesome.
He comes out. So like last year, I got him. He's never used like a youth fishing pole, like none of the Zebcos, nothing. He's always just wanted to use my full size rods, but he
Right.
can't. Last year, he couldn't cast on his own. So I
Right.
would cast for him. I would just sit behind him on the boat. Like I would cast, he would reel, and he'd
Yeah.
catch fish that way. And so this over the winter, he kept going in the barn, and he would take my fishing poles, and like even at his grandpa's house, his grandpa would just let him
Yeah.
throw it in the yard or whatever. He
Mhm.
got really good at it. Like he throws a full 7-foot like bait caster.
Nice.
Well, he's better than me.
It's insane. He's way better than I would have ever been at 3 years old. But so then like he learned how to use a spinning rod, and he's all about spinning rods now. But so then we'll go on the lake, like we go fishing for like 3 or 4 hours, and like he's fine. He get back to the boat ramp, and he's still trying to throw off the dock when we get back. It's just insane.
Wow.
But now he's like, he gets super jacked up about backing the boat in. He thinks the trailers are the coolest thing ever. So like my driveway's 400 foot long. So
Yeah.
when I back in, like I just put him on my lap, and then I back in. He watches the screen, and he thinks everything's cool. And so we're at the boat ramp probably like 3 weeks ago, and it was right when it was starting to get warm. So there was other people at the boat ramp, and I sat like back from the dock quite a bit, and I spot locked my trolling motor, and we're just sitting there. So I could tell from this guy not being able to dock his boat, they probably couldn't back his trailer in either. And so we're sitting there, and it's me, both kids, and my wife. And this guy starts backing this trailer down. I mean, just jackknifing it left and right. I just cannot get it
gosh.
straight.
Yeah.
And so he starts telling, he's at the front of the boat, I'm kind of towards the back, and he's like, Dad, he's not doing it right. He's not backing. I'm like, chill.
Yeah.
Like, he can hear you.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Inside
the
voice.
last thing I
buds.
need to get in a fight in the parking lot because my 3-year-old's telling some grown man he doesn't know how to back down a trailer. And I'm like, it's like nobody would believe me if my wife wasn't standing there going like, is he being serious right now? Yeah, he is. He thinks he can back that trailer down there better than that guy can.
And
And
probably could have.
Oh, I believe it.
he's been hooking up wagons with like he'll get a piece of rope from the barn and he'll tie a wagon to the back of his big wheel.
Yeah.
And then he'll put like coolers in the back of the wagon, and he says that that's his boat. And he'll back them off of the driveway because we have kind of a steep hill on the side of the driveway. I'm backing my boat down the boat ramp, and like,
Dude, you got to get videos. You got to get videos of that because there's a kid, like growing up on a farm, right? So he's got his cowboy boots and his blue jeans and his button-up shirt and cowboy hat, and he's the same thing, right? Big wheels. And he takes his dog and he'll put his dog in the big wheel and he's fucking driving around, and the kid is large as life, right? Like this is he's hit it, right? That this is the epitome of coolness.
Yeah.
And
it's the same way that he is. It's just like if Boomer would get in the big wheel with him, he'd drive him all over the place, but Boomer don't trust him.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's been I mean, like he's out there making baits with me, rigging up rods, and it's like he turns 4 in 3 weeks.
That's impressive, man. And that's
crazy.
It's so cool.
But that's a relationship. That's building a relationship that, you know what, man, like 90% of the world is jealous of. Like I wish my son did that stuff with me. You know, I wish he cared about, but he's just got different interests, right? Like that's
I mean, like I talk to Sean all the time, and he loves the videos of it, and so he constantly sends me stuff about it, and he's like, and when we were talking about it, it's like I tell him like I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just kind of like building the base for him to be excited to be outside. He doesn't like, neither of my kids like being inside. As soon as they wake up and they're dressed and ready to go, they want to be outside all day, which is why it's so dark right now. I can't really tell, but I've been outside. We have no trees, and it's like I'm outside all the time. I'm on the boat, but I'd much rather them be doing that with me than trying to drag them outside off TV or whatever. So that's how I grew up, and I'm hoping that's how they like. I hope that they both still are going to be into it. You know, I'm like, my daughter comes out and fishes with us, and Wes shows her how to cast a rod, and it's like, it's just
that's awesome.
It's cool. It's
that's wholesome, man.
You don't realize how small a 20-foot boat is until you get smacked in the head about 55 times. You're like, I thought this boat was a lot bigger.
Yeah,
you get hitting the side of the head, and you're like, is there a hook in there? No. Okay. So, no, it's been a lot of fun.
No, that's good, man. I enjoy the videos. I didn't realize he was 4 years old, to be honest with you. I thought he was older. Yeah. I honestly did. I thought he was older than that. But hey, man, it's good. Like I said, 95% of the population is jealous of the relationship you got with your kid, and I can guarantee you that.
And then now with the trolling motor and stuff, it's just like
it's awesome.
I can still like give them that exposure and the opportunity to choose that.
Yeah,
I think I put it up on Instagram and Facebook, and I was getting people texting me, and they're like, is he really driving that boat by himself? I'm like, AI is good, but it's not that good.
Yeah.
No, it's like awesome. when I first saw that, I'm like, oh man, I can just imagine the messages you're gonna get.
Oh, it was hilarious. But it was people that were like, oh, it's super cool, and there was some people that like they were saying like, oh, it'd be really like, I wish I could also expose my kids to it. Like, come over, but you're on your own.
Yeah.
Like if he couldn't swim, I wouldn't let him do it by himself. But he can
not.
He can swim he swam all the way across the pond multiple times. So it's like, you know, it's an acre. So
and you're right there too.
I'm right there. Yeah. I'm not just like, hey, there you go. And just,
and he's wearing a life jacket too, right? So
he either got a life jacket or he's got a little floaty like swim.
Yeah, you're not throwing him to the fucking wolves or anything. Like
exactly. But even like the other thing too is like both of those, like I have 2 little 12-foot boats that were both free. So it's like if he bangs them into the rocks or he smacks it into the dock or whatever, like I couldn't care less. Like it's way cooler for me to just be doing that stuff with them. And it's like I just sit there, I'm like, this is the craziest shit of all time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Build some confidence too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
he'll have a lot of self-confidence doing stuff like that.
Yeah, really, I just don't want him to embarrass me at the boat ramp in like 10 years when he's doing his own thing. Like if he starts jackknifing a trailer into the boat ramp, then
I got a feeling that ain't going to happen, buddy.
I hope the hell not, but
Halbleib. All right, your turn, buddy. Kansas, Missouri road trip. Like I haven't really got a chance to pick your brain on everything. I just know you were down there and you were cutting some trees and shit. So hit us with it, buddy.
Yeah, so I started working with Ben Myers from Flight Day Ammunition, small business guys really doing some amazing work. Started out with bismuth, trying to revolutionize the bismuth shell industry, which he did a heck of a job. He put so much time and research into his product, but I'm not sure how aware you guys are of the bismuth supply. There's a big problem now getting that from China.
Oh.
So he really dove into the steel rounds this year.
Okay.
And did a lot of testing with different speeds and ballistic gel. I mean, the whole 9 yards. It's really impressive to hear what he's got going on. And I patterned a bunch of it, and we shot a bunch of it while I was out there. And just really cool to see a small time guy doing that, you know, trying to take on because the duck and goose and shot shell industry is so huge. So anybody trying to make a foothold in that, you know, that's an uphill battle. But he's really done well for just starting out.
Well, I think like to his benefit, like you look at Boss and Apex, like those two are just the ones that jump off to me in the last, 5 years. And I know, those guys were just making it for friends and passing it around and word just kept building. And you guys know as well as I do, when it comes, like if something is going to put more ducks down, fellas are going to be all over. They just need to be introduced to it. Right. So
absolutely.
And you're representing them with your own podcast with Migration Waterfowl. So, it's a good relationship for you and him, I feel.
Yeah. But that's what started this trip out west. We were talking about some shot shell patterning over text message, and he hit me with, sorry it took so long to respond. He was planting. And I said, oh, what are you planting? And he said, we're putting some Milo.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it sorghum. Same thing. He said, I was going to put some corn in, but it's going to be too expensive to do corn this year. And I said, well, if you need a hand with something, just let me know. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, if you got any projects going on, I got some time off. And he was like, oh, heck yeah, man. I've been wanting to put this new duck hole in. They've got some flooded timber areas on this farm in Missouri. So he said, if you're being serious, yeah, I'll take some help. And he probably thought I was joking. Like, I'm not going to get in my truck. And probably similar to what you thought when you invited me to the Toronto Sportsman Show.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, this guy's not going to show up. Yeah.
And then we made some plans to get together for that. And then my friend Elliot Snyder from Freelance Duck Hunting YouTube channel, he's also got a podcast called North American Waterfowler. He's actually been working with Ben for over a year and got a full season in using Flight Day ammunition. So he's a school teacher, and he's got all kind of time off now because it's summertime.
Right.
He said, hey, maybe we can work something out. You can stay at the house because Ben's place is only an hour and 45 minutes from here. And ended up working out. So saved me quite a bit of money on lodging and got to catch up with two pretty cool dudes, old friend and a new friend in Ben.
That's awesome, buddy. I was just looking at something there while you were chatting. No, that's good, man. And I bet you for a guy like him, I bet you there's a lot of people that says, hey, if you ever need a hand, just let me know. And then he reaches out and they're like, well, I got something on the go this week and I can't make it this weekend, but let me know the next time. Right. So I'm sure you probably shocked them when you were like, okay, because it was a 2-day drive for you too, right? Like you couldn't do that trip all in one day.
You could, but it would beat you up. I've tried to do that before. 10, 12 hours behind a steering wheel's rough. So now that I'm getting older and I think wiser, it's like, well, I could do 6 hours today and 6 hours tomorrow. So
especially if you're doing it by yourself. Like I think like the only time I've done something like that was for moose hunting, and it was a 12-hour drive, which is still a short drive for Ontario moose hunting.
Yeah.
But like we had a truck full of people, so at least like I did the whole drive both ways. Yeah. But you've got 3 other people to chat with and keep you awake.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to an old army buddy of mine. He's now living in a different area. He's no longer in the army, but he'll be along the highway when I go out west guiding this year. And I was like, well, I'll probably stop in. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. And I was like, I'll stop in and hang out. And I said, it'll break up the drive, right? And he was like, well, somewhat. And I was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, you're up there, man. Like, how much more further is the Manitoba border from your place? And he was like, 15 hours. And I'm like, so it's like 8 hours to his place and then another 15 hours before I hit Manitoba. Like Ontario is just massive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was in college, a bunch of the guys I met there, they were all in the forestry program, and a bunch of them were from Nova Scotia. They could drive home to Nova Scotia faster than some of my other friends from Northern Ontario. So like one friend of mine, she lived in Manitouwadge up in Northern Ontario. I think it took her 20 plus hours.
Yeah.
And they could get home to Nova Scotia halfway across the country faster.
Yeah. It's wild, man. It's wild. Boys, I got to tell you this fucking story that was told to me today. And I've been waiting all day to tell this story. I'm not going to give names because I don't know if anybody actually, people that are involved, if they listen to the show, I doubt it. But anyways, I'm not going to get into the names. So anyways, my buddy was telling me, we were dog training this morning. And my buddy is telling me this story, and it's fucking just chaos, right? So there's a fella that he knows, and he has one of those Drathar dogs, right? And he wants to get this dog trained like the pure Drathar training, the German stuff, like get them all. And I guess the final thing in all the training and all the testing is that dog has to kill something. Like that's the deal, right? Yeah,
like
it actually.
Or
something. It has to, in order for it to be certified or whatever, it has to fucking kill something. So this guy's he's an older French gentleman, right? And apparently he's quite animated. And so this is all is good. So he calls up his buddy, and his buddy traps raccoons and shit, right? And he was like, hey, set one of your traps, catch a raccoon, let me know when you get it, because I'm going to come out and I'm going to bring the dog. And it needs to be witnessed by somebody too, right? Like it can't be just you and your dog go out and somebody else has the witnesses. So his buddy calls him up and tells him, yeah, I got a raccoon, come on out. So he shows up, and I guess this raccoon is fucking massive. Like it is like a buck of a raccoon, and it is massive. So the guy is now concerned about his dog's safety because he's like, man, this thing is just going to be nasty. And the dog is around it, and you know how raccoons are, right? They're just fucking snarling and everything. So he's got a little 22 pistol, and he's like, well, I'll like shoot it in the fucking teeth, like to knock some teeth out so that it doesn't tear the dog up. So the raccoon's down there going crazy. He's got this fucking 22 pistol, and he's trying to line it up with the raccoon. He's pulling the trigger, and the raccoon's moving, and then he's grazing underneath the chin, and then he shoots the raccoon in the fucking hind legs or something, and the raccoon jumps up on him, and it's on his fucking chest, and he's losing his mind, and it's just pandemonium going on, right? Oh, but and meanwhile the dog is just losing its mind because it wants to kill this thing. The Frenchman is just full on animation, like the raccoon's attacking him, and he's got a 22 pistol in his hand. And I was just now, and this is getting told to me, right, by a fella, and he's, you know, acting everything out and doing everything. And I'm in tears, you know, I couldn't imagine being there and listening to this. Right. So, and I probably didn't do it any justice, but it was just such a funny story to hear him. You know, he's like down there, and he's, I'll shoot him in the mouth. I'll knock out a few teeth so he doesn't tear up the dog. And then apparently then the dog just fucking got a hold of it and just tore that thing right up. Right. But anyways, funny story. I thought it was a funny story.
I got a buddy his dad does that. He trains all of he trains like Drahars and short hairs, and then he runs them in those tests. But he goes over to like Germany and certifies them.
Really?
He's got too much money, and but he does all that stuff in his yard, and like goes to parks and stuff, and like will do blood drags for like a mile and a half just at like community parks.
Well, I know Dave Palmer.
He just doesn't care at all.
Like Dave Palmer, who used to be on the show here with us, that's what he has. His dog, Layla or something is the dog's name. Anyways, their neighbors had chickens, and like chickens were getting loose and coming into the yard. That dog would just it was just annihilating fucking chickens, right? Like as soon as they come into the yard, the dog was on it, grabbed it, you know, and I can remember Dave, you know, like the neighbors are losing their mind. He's like, well, what? Like I can't the dog is on my property. Your chickens are coming over to my property. Like, what do you expect me to do, right? And it is a dog. It is an animal that's bred to do these things. So, like, what do you expect? You know, I just picture this old Frenchman with a 22 pistol trying to line it up to knock the teeth out of a raccoon.
Yeah, of all things.
Of all
Just
things,
imagine
right?
like a Bugs Bunny cartoon where it's like, starts off where he's chasing the raccoon this way, and then next thing they go out of the shot, and then they turn around, and then the raccoon's chasing him back this way.
Yeah, that's a pretty good analogy. It's a Bugs Bunny cartoon, is Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. I did want to pick your brain, fellas, because with Bodie is being south of the border and in the States, and this is something because I had this conversation this morning as well with a friend of mine. Are you starting to see the prices increase right now on duck hunting, like on any of the hunting supplies right now? Because I'm hearing that a couple of the bigger brands, they were able to, I guess, postpone any increases, and it was looking good, but apparently now they're coming, and it's coming in the States, which at first we thought it was only going to affect us up here in Canada, but apparently it's going to affect American purchasers too. Have you guys started noticing any increases yet?
I just saw Roger's ad today, and none of the prices looked like too far out of line. I've seen like some random like decoys and stuff bump up, but
nothing worth getting excited about.
And I mean, like, I haven't really paid much attention lately, just because I'm not buying hunting stuff right now. But
right,
a lot of places are doing their spring sales now too.
Yeah,
right.
So it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah,
right.
I was just on the internet looking for a new blind. They've got those, I think they're called fast strike blinds. They're real lightweight, and a friend of mine has one, and I'm like, man, I think I'm going to get myself one of those. And I was actually just looking at that. That was actually marked down. I think it was like $129 regularly. It was on sale for $99. So
I saw those not too long ago. They look pretty sweet.
I haven't seen them, so I'm going to pull them up here.
Where you can kind of make your own blind,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, it's basically just a frame, but it's a lightweight frame, and you put your own brush, and it's got bungees and support poles and everything already
that's
built
into it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here right now. Can you guys see it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So if you go back a page, then you can see like kind of the frame. It's not really like a frame. It's rotomolded like bar almost, and then it's got feet.
Yeah.
And you tie all your grass to it.
I think if you click underneath that main picture, I think there's a gallery there.
What's this here?
So that little plastic thing you see right there.
Right there? Mm-hmm. That's it?
Yep. Wow. It's got legs that you attach to it. It basically just gives you something to attach to, and then you put all your brush and
it's like when guys would just use like snow fencing or the the page wire fence and stuff like that. It's just kind of a frame to strap everything to.
Yeah. But it's super light and a lot of innovative things on it to make life easier.
I'm real. This is really cool, actually.
Throw it right in a kayak or canoe.
$130. That's it.
Yeah, it's on sale for $99 on Rogers. I think I saw it.
I guess with some of the stuff, it could just still be current stock that they have, right? So
could be.
It wouldn't necessarily be affected yet.
Yeah. When you think of it that way, it's probably going to be mid-season that you start seeing everything.
Right.
Yeah, I'll check that out. I want to watch the video on it. That's because that's the first when you brought it up. That's the first I've heard about that blind. So.
Sounds like a new sale to me.
Not too long ago, I was looking at them a little bit.
Yeah, it's fairly new.
Yeah.
Okay, it's still, and I talk about this all the time on the show. But when you think fellas haven't figured out a new way to do something, somebody pulls something out of their hat, and you're just like, fuck, like so simple. Like it's such a simple little thing, and then you sit back and you think about it and you think you're an idiot because you didn't think about it yourself. You're like, how could I have not thought about this? Like, I'm an engineer.
Kind of like an oversight, right?
Yeah. Like I'd like to think I'm an intelligent person. I'm an engineer. You know what I mean? And yet I'll see this stuff and I'm just like mind blown. I'm like, how the fuck do guys come up with this stuff? Like it's wicked.
Yeah.
And for like $130, like Come on, man. Like you're not beating that price.
Sure.
Because even if you, and I'm not slagging any of the blinds, like I got lots of blinds, but you still got to brush the friggin' thing in.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference? You know what I mean? Like there's not like you're spending $500 for a panel blind and you don't have to do anything with it. You still got to go cut your brush and brush it in and try and hide.
For sure.
This thing here, you can pop it in a, like you said, Brian, you can pop it in a kayak and off you go, right? I love it, man. I love when I see cool things. I know Fred Zink is coming out with a couple really cool things this year too. And Fred's always been sort of kind of changing stuff up, right? Like over the years, like he's always been somewhat innovative with his stuff. And I can't even remember what it is now, but I can remember looking at it and going, oh man, that's pretty cool. And then there's this new, there's this new decoy. The kid is, I think he's just a graduate out of is that, yeah, that's Texas, right? The Aggies.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that's where he went to school. Anyways, engineering student, and it's called Japu decoys. Dude, that thing is cool as hell. I'll bring that up too, because that is just a cool little.
It's kind of similar. So I started working with that Duck Creek Works decoys, and they make the flashback. My buddy's been doing a lot of like paint schemes and stuff for that, but he's running all their social medias now, and he asked me to start making content for him.
Okay.
And, it's similar to that, where like kind of butts up, makes like on water motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Japu Outdoors. It's just a cool little, like it's not reinventing a wheel or anything, but it looks like a cool little friggin' thing.
That's just different.
Yeah, this isn't a very good.
Yeah, you can start to see a lot of people moving away from spinners and looking at on water motion.
Yeah, like that's not a very good video because it should be horizontal. But yeah, but I remember having like Sean Stahl on before, and that was one of the things that Sean used to always say, right? Like what was cool, and then it stopped because something else come along, and then people end up going back to the same thing, right? Like that's the
revolution instead of the evolution.
Yeah, like it's just it just dives. That's all it does. It just. And this guy is just making them in his garage. Like, it's awesome, man. It's amazing that the fellas are so innovative and they can come up with this stuff. I love it. I love seeing fellas do it. And then I love trying to get them to come on the show. Sometimes they answer me back. Some more times they don't. Like, who's this weird guy that keeps messaging me with the sweet, sultry voice? Oh, boys, that's good to see you. It really is. And I really don't have anything to talk about tonight. Like, I just wanted to have you guys on just to shoot the shit and have a laugh and see where it took us. I'm headed down. Actually, I am headed down to go fishing tomorrow with a couple buddies. There's a veteran salmon fish on Lake Ontario. So hopefully I get to hook into some salmon and rainbow trout tomorrow. I'm pretty excited.
Not too windy. It's been windy.
Yeah.
Over here.
Well, I think it's calling for a little bit of rain tomorrow, but the rain doesn't bother me none. But I'm heading down with Rob Borg, Craig.
Oh, yeah.
That's who
Nice.
I'm heading down with. So I'm looking forward to that. I haven't been out fishing for ages, so I'm actually pretty excited to go. And so I'll go down there tomorrow, spend the night in a hotel, get up early Saturday morning, fish, and then book it back home for my son's football game at 3 p.m. So hopefully I don't miss anything, but it's just another whirlwind weekend, right? And the summer is like we're already... like the middle of June, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like the summer is going to be gone before you know it. But this is what I was saying yesterday on the social media post, right? We're like, we live in this constant vicious circle of when is it duck season? When is it duck season? Oh, it's duck season. I don't want duck season to end. Duck season ends. When's duck season? When's it? Like, it's just, that's all. That's like, I dream about hunting ducks, and then when it's time to go, that's all I'm thinking about is hunting and being out and chasing them and trying to get into them. Then when it's over, then it's back to, all right, what gear do I need for next year? What do I got to do? Where am I going to go? Am I going to go on a trip next year? Who am I going to go hang out with? Who am I going to hunt with? And it's just nonstop. It's just this vicious cycle.
That's one thing I find is good, like about getting older, because like everybody says, like as you get older, the time just starts to go faster and faster.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good because like the time between seasons seems to go by really quick.
It do.
Then it's just a matter of kind of slowing down and taking it in and really, really paying attention.
Yeah.
Because yeah, for us, like we've been busy like pretty much all May to the end of June. Like we've had no free time, but like there's a lot, right? It's not just busy for the sake of being busy. Like there's a lot of cool stuff going on, a lot of cool stuff that's already happened, and so it's like it's just making sure you're taking it all in when that is happening.
Yeah, I sometimes forget. Craig, you and Snuffy there have got small kids, right? Like Halbleib and our kids are grown up, so they don't really need a lot of our attention other than when they need money or something like that. That's usually the only time you hear, hey, I need this. Can I have $300? So enjoy that 4-year-old out driving the boat right now, Snuffy, because there's not going to be much longer, and he's going to be like, I don't like this boat. I need a new boat. Give me a new boat, Dad. Everybody's laughing at me at the boat launch.
And even just with being busy, like today, like my 10-minute rant about my afternoon, like that's not an extraordinary day. That's most days.
Standard.
Right? There's just always something.
I couldn't do it no more, Halbleib. Like I really couldn't. I could not live. And it's not like I'm above it. It's just I don't have the patience. I don't have the drive to do it. Like I would have, like even listening to you, Ellithorpe, like I'd just be like, you know what? I'm just sitting down in my chair. Nobody talk to me. Don't talk to me. I'm turning on the hockey game. I'm just turning off my brain. I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to play a stupid game on my phone and just be here and not have to do anything.
That's most days. I wish that I could just sit and not be bothered, but it's like I'll work, and then as soon as I'm done, if I'm working at home or if I'm traveling or I'm in the office, it's like then it's immediately being with the kids until they go to bed, and then it's like I take about like an hour or so after they fall asleep, and then I'll either go in the basement and work out or I'll go edit, and it's just like before I know it, it's Saturday morning. It's like, do I have anything today?
It's crazy.
But
I have weddings for the next 2 weekends, and then I have something I got to film after that. I didn't book much in July, and then I have a couple in August, but that's going to be interesting because my third kid comes in August sometime. So
I know I've beaten it to death on this show, but I like to bring it up because, there's always somebody new that's listening or whatever. But, like so Craig is here, the career, 2 small kids, wife has a career, and then he's still on this show with me every week. And Craig is always makes himself available. Phil's on shift work, so it's a little bit harder. Ellithorpe, small family or young family, you've got a high demand job, plus your too many hobbies thing, and then the weddings and the pictures. Then Halbleib is full-time job. Kids are moved out, but full-time job and still trying to run a business. Sometimes you'll hear fellas say, like, they'll look at people and they'll be like, oh, it must be nice, they're getting free gear or they get this or they got that hunting opportunity, like it must be nice. Nobody ever sees all of the hard work and the sacrifice and the failed attempts at stuff that you've tried to do that just didn't work, but you just get up and dust yourself off and go try it again, right? Like it's that old saying, like, if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? And by no means am I, I'm not saying any of us have hit it fucking big or anything like that, but it's not easy. And then when you're trying to juggle a full-time job, like thank God I don't have a full-time job because I wouldn't be able to do it. Like there's no way I'd be able to do it because I just don't have the bandwidth to do it. I really don't. Like this is 99% of the weeks. This is the most stressful thing I have during the week is I have to find somebody to come on the show. Like that's as stressful as my life is, really. I don't.
Yeah,
Trish,
you earned that though.
Yeah, but like
Trish, I was just going to say, but other people are going to think that same thing. Oh, it must be nice. It's like, well,
right.
took a bit to get there.
Well,
Absolutely.
yeah, it took a bit to get here, but still, like I'm fairly lucky because my kids are growing up. My son's almost 16, my daughter is 19. Trish is pretty self-sufficient. She doesn't need me for everything. So I cook dinner, I tidy the house. She comes home, she doesn't have anything to do other than her normal stuff, but she doesn't have to clean the house or cook dinner or anything like that. And I've got that done. And like literally, like this is the most stress oh fuck, who are we going to get on the show this week? Oh, let me see. Maybe we'll just do it us this week, or maybe we'll find a guest, and that's as stressful as it gets. And I wouldn't be able to operate like you guys. I really wouldn't, because I just don't have the bandwidth to do it. I'd just quit. I'd be just like, no, I'm not playing today. I'm just going to sit
for
on
me,
the couch
it's like
now.
I won't say I need it to be like that, because like I'm not one of those people that's just looking for chaos just to make a big deal about it or whatever. At work, like if I have a crazy busy schedule, or if I'm already working on 10 things and I'm getting requests in the meantime, I'll get it all done. But if I have a couple hours with nothing, I'm just like, well, time to be lazy, I guess. And same with at home. Like if I'm I'm very lazy by nature. So if there's not something to do, I'm going to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't like that. Like I want to get something done. I want to feel like I've accomplished something. So yeah, if there's 10, 20 jobs to do, I'd rather have something like that, because then I'll get something done.
Oh, I'm a horrible procrastinator now. One time I was always like wanting to do something, ready to go. Now I put everything off, man. Like I am bad, and it drives my wife absolutely bananas, because everything is like, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Everything is, yeah, I'll get at it tomorrow. Drives her bananas.
Well, it's how bad do you want it too, right?
Yeah.
Like look at Ellithorpe. He's good at, he puts his soul into everything that he does. So he's really good at photography. He's really good at editing. He's obviously a really good father and husband. It's keeping that all together. And then a full-time gig where he's, I don't want to go into all the details, but he shares some of the struggles with the projects that get dumped on his lap. And it's how bad you want it, and guys like Ellithorpe and Craig and even you, Damien, I mean, put your mind to something. If you want it done, you got to get out there and get it. You can sit there and say, and there's a lot of guys that do. They're like, well, that must be nice, but I got kids, I got full-time job, I got this. Well, you don't want it bad enough, apparently.
You know what? That's a good. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and just talking to her about, like I'm always trying to cook up something new, right? And you guys all know it, because I tell you all the time, right? I'm like, hey, what do you guys think about this? Do you think this is a good idea? And I'll always bounce and shit off you guys, right? And when I think back on it, and I talking to friends, and I'll hear them say, well, I'm not that type of person, because my parents were very cautious, and you didn't take risk, and you didn't do this. My father, I can't remember my father ever telling me, no, you can't do that. Like, that's impossible to do. Everything like the craziest shit I would think of, my dad would be like, well, if you want it bad enough, you'll figure out a way. That was always his saying. He was like, if you want it bad enough, you'll figure out a way to get it done, or you'll figure out a way to make it happen, or whatever. And, you can have that. I think that attitude is bred into you. I think your mentors, and it doesn't have to be your father or your mother. It could be whoever your mentor is, whoever sort of molded you. Because I'm like you, Craig. Like, I'm a lazy person by nature, and the old saying, right? You want a job done quick and right? Give it to a lazy person, because they'll get it done the fastest. That's me. Like I am. I'd sooner. But what I've found lately is that if I'm lazy throughout the day, if I do absolutely nothing throughout the day, come dinner time, I'm squirrely. And I get irritated very, very quick. If I haven't done anything all day and I'm just sitting around the house, I'm not fun to be around in the evening, because I'm just like wasted a day, because I said I'm a procrastinator. So I've got a long list of stuff that I could have had done that I didn't do. And now I'm just pissy about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a never ending.
And I do that too, because
I sit
I'll
around
come home
too long with nothing to do. I just come up with random shit. And then
but my brain is always
Facebook Marketplace, and then I end up with another boat or something. Could have avoided
but that's what I mean, right? Like, I'm always thinking up something, or I'm always like, I'm curious, like, and I'm weird. Like, I might be sitting down watching TV, and I don't know, there would be a commercial, and you'll see a dinosaur, and I'm like, dinosaurs. And then something will pop, and then I got to go get the computer, because I got to Google something about dinosaurs, and then I'm an hour reading about dinosaurs or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I just.
And then you end up, by the end, you're so far off of dinosaurs.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because, the worst thing you could do is get into that loop with YouTube, right? You go, you watch
Yeah.
one video on YouTube, and then the next thing you know, you're watching something that had absolutely nothing to do with what
Right.
originally got you on YouTube.
Some guy making clay bricks in the jungle somewhere.
Yeah, with a loincloth, and your wife comes by and she's like, "What are you watching?" Oh, it's
I
click. He's
my
making
first
fucking
experience
bricks.
with Chat GPT last night, because I kind of had a name for a dog already for a while.
Right.
And then you kind of threw some at me. I was like, well, I kind of like those too. And then so I was like, I'm going to try Chat GPT. I've never used it for anything. So I started asking it questions and trying to figure out different, I was throwing 80s kids references and stuff like that too. Like coming up with thinking of like things like X-Men and Formers and stuff like that, trying to come up with some cool names. And so I spent probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours talking back and forth. And it's like, what do you think about these? I'm like, well, this one, but not this one. I'm like, all right. I think I'm narrowing it down. And I did. And Carrie came home from dance and she said, what are you doing? I'm like, that's what I'm doing. And like an hour later, she's watching TV. She's like, are you still talking to that thing? I'm like, yeah, we haven't come up with the final decision yet.
That's funny.
Next thing you know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
I will say this about Chat GPT, and to all of the people, and I don't want to sound like an asshole when I say this, but all the people that are starting new brands, stop going to Chat GPT to get your logo made, because everybody can tell.
They all look the same.
They all look the same. And I'm guilty, because remember, I was doing logos up on Chat GPT, and I was like, this is sick. This is awesome.
Yeah.
But then it's like everybody was doing it. And now I'm like, Chat GPT, Chat GPT. Just spend $100 and $200 and get a graphic designer to make you a fucking logo.
See, I noticed that when you did those patches before the Sportsman show, you were looking for a patch. And then I think it was like that same week or the week after, I saw a new Instagram page that had, I thought it was the same thing. I got looking at it, it's like, oh no, it's somebody else. It's just almost the exact same thing that you would come up with.
Yeah. Like, it's just, so I appreciate the fact that, hey, and I love the fact that there's all these new brands coming out, like fellas making videos and pictures. I think it's amazing that people are out doing it. And I'm not throwing shade on starting a business or starting a brand. Just stop using Chat GPT to build your logo.
Or use it as a starting point or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like get an idea. Like the beauty about Chat GPT is that, you just pound it in and you say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And they can give you a couple ideas. And then you go to somebody and say, okay, I want this made. Because I think the problem with Chat GPT is that it's a file that you can't use. Like you can't send it to somebody and them use it as an embroidery file or a vector file, right?
Okay.
So then, like, if you want to make any merchandise, you want to do patches for hats and stuff like that, it's got to get rendered into the right software, right? So just do yourself the favor, just get a graphic designer to make your logo into vectors, and then you'll be good to go.
Yeah, I've used it like on like ideas for captions and stuff like that. For that.
Well, I had to write a like a welcome message like a few months ago, and I typed out what I wanted to say. But again, and I'm always a little bit nervous when it comes to grammar and stuff, because I am from Newfoundland and it is a little bit wonky at best. So I'll always go to like Grammarly, or I'll go to somewhere and get them to proofread it, right? So anyways, I went to Chat GPT and I put it in the chat, and it like sort of rewrote it, and then I just submitted it. Well, I submitted it, and the guy wrote me back. He was like, Chat GPT, eh? And I was like, how'd you know? He was like, and he said there was a word in there. He was like, I know you did not put that fucking word in there. That's a computer that put that word in. I'm not saying you don't know what the word is. I just know you don't use it in your vocabulary. And I was like, yeah, good point.
I just always get stumped on like all my, like for Tango Free, I had to put captions on stuff, and it's like I look at the same, you scroll through pictures and you're like, I could just use the same thing, and it's like, so I'll put in like the description of the picture and just get an idea, and then I'll make up my own. But it's like sometimes it's like that writer's block deal where it's just like you just forget, you can't come up with something, and it's like it just helps like give you something to work
even
on.
Just that one little word like triggers your mind. Like, oh, that's it.
Yeah. And I think that's what it's meant for, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like if you scroll through Instagram enough, you'll see like people that will literally just copy paste it, and they'll have like the 2 dashes in between stuff that comes up with all this great, and you're like, at least try. Like, you don't need to you don't need to come up with the ideas on your own, but like
Edit it
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah,
make
like
it sound like you
Right.
instead of
Yeah.
some robot doing it.
like there's nothing wrong with getting help, but just don't don't take it
just use it
verbatim.
as a
I know
tool
my
instead of
daughter.
replacing you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Just using
what'd
it
you
as
say,
a
Craig?
tool to help you. Yeah. If you use
Yeah,
it
so
that
just-
way, I don't think there's any issue with it, but it's like
I know my daughter says at university, like they cannot use Chat GPT for anything at university.
I
Like,
believe that.
yeah, like she was like, absolutely. Like you can ask it a question if you're trying to understand something and it could dumb it down for you. But like you can't write any of that because they'll know right off the bat. She said
yeah.
like they know the minute you're using Chat GPT, they fucking know. I don't know how they know, but she said they know.
I think a
There's
lot of the professors will put in whatever assignment, they'll put the assignment in the Chat GPT and see what it spits out, and then they go, oh,
I'm sure.
when someone turns their paper and they go,
I
here it
didn't think
is.
about that. Yeah.
That looks just like it.
That's
That's what my daughter was telling me anyway.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Well, it's funny because it's like you think it's got a whole world of information, and it's still going to end up looking similar
Right.
over
Yeah.
time, right? If 10
Oh, yeah.
people ask it to do the same thing, it's going to look similar. Same like you throw Spotify on, you've got 300 songs that are on your liked songs. You're going to hear the same 25 over and over, and it's
Yeah.
like it's not that good where you're not going to see those similarities. It's not going to make an effort to make every answer. If it's giving 100 people an answer on the same thing, it's not going to make the effort to make them look different.
Mm-hmm.
We use one at work. It's so Microsoft now offers it's an AI thing, same thing as ChatGPT, but it's called Copilot, and it's
Okay.
more like focused towards like business professionals.
Yeah.
We've got
For
it with
like
the government.
proposals and stuff. Yeah, you can use Copilot, and it's like you can tell the difference between ChatGPT and Copilot. Copilot does sound more professional, but it's
Oh yeah.
but it's the same concept where it's like if you ask it to like give you an intro for a proposal or something, like you have to go in and make it not sound like a robot did it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Craig said, it's a tool. Like you can use it, but just don't rely on it.
So, and we're at an hour here, boys, but this is something, and this could be totally far-fetched and not even something that's even in the realm of something that's going to happen. But, you think about all this AI stuff, and it is becoming extremely popular, and every day it seems like it's doing something that's even cooler than the day before, right? What point does it come into waterfowl hunting to where it's detrimental? Like, are fellas going to start, I don't know, like asking the fucking computer when's the blue-winged teal going to cross over fucking Lake Erie? You know what I mean? Like, is that a possibility that it gets to that?
I could see that. You say like, hey, I'm going to hunt in Georgian Bay, on Matchadash Bay. What would be, is this weekend going to be good for ringnecks? And it's like, it's probably going to be able to spit out pretty good information, right? It's going to look at weather and everything that's out there.
I would think so. So like,
It might be good to like consolidate information, but I don't know that it's really going to help.
well, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like you still got to be, it's got to be boots on the ground, like that's scouting,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't
Yeah,
think
got to
you
go
could
and
ever
verify the
replace that.
information.
Yeah, like I don't think you could ever replace it.
I think that waterfowl hunting, like same with fishing, like anything that you are relying on nature, like I don't think that there's not a lot of technology involved in like the success of it. Yeah, with like live scope, like that's completely different, but like there's really nothing as far as I think the most like technological part of hunting is like drone recovery, like heat seeking recovery. I think that's probably
Cellular trail cameras, stuff like that.
yeah, and like I mean on X, but like I don't think there's anything that's like we have customers that are starting to like use AI to replace people and plants.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff that I think is going to start to change with AI, but I don't think that I mean aside from like the content, the digital side of waterfowl hunting, like I think that we all love magazines, but I think that at some point people are going to start using AI programs to like write articles and stuff like that, and I think that that's probably going to change. But
I think like at the end of the day, you'll always have to scout, you'll always have to find the birds, you'll have to find out where the X is. But I just see, like Brian, think about planting like your food plots and stuff like that. Like I could see somebody sitting down and I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, because I probably would do it too, because I know nothing about food plots, but I could see someone sitting down and going, I live in Ontario and I want to pull bucks in. What's the best thing? Because the trial and error or reaching out to that old fella that's been doing it for 30 years, those days will be gone because it's just as easy to plug it into a computer and do it and get the same information, probably more detailed to save you a bunch of time. That's what I think. Like, I think you're still going to have to, you know, be out there to do it. I just think a lot of the prep work, people will just look to AI to spit them out the answer. Like, fuck, it wasn't very long ago that fellas were doing all those pictures of spreads. Like this, if the wind is this way, you need to have your spread. No, you don't have to have your spread anyway. You need the wind to split your ponytail. That's it. Everything else is great, right? So, you know, U's and X's and Y's and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, you don't need that. But to somebody that didn't know, well, that was a fucking game changer that they had all these little cartoons drawn up of decoy spreads and stuff, right? And I just think it'll just continue to grow that way to the point that, you know, the diehards and the ones that are, I don't want to say older, but just the ones that just do it the way that it's meant to, those are going to be the only ones that does it. Anybody that's new coming into the sport, they're going to be looking to AI, to Google, to some app to tell them what to do.
I think the biggest thing that it could change as far as that would be like the information available to people who are starting that, where it'd be like, hey, I want to start duck hunting. What do I need?
Yeah.
Spit out, you know, instead of going on forums and looking through all that, like it'll give you an answer instantaneously. Or like, where can I hunt? Stuff like that. I mean, like stuff that Onyx has already helped with and YouTube has already helped with. I think it would just give somebody, instead of like having to watch through a whole 20-minute video of how do I set a goose spread, then you could just do that and it'll just start throwing up pictures and all, you know, all the stuff that we had to look at. I mean,
that took you 20 years.
Yeah, the internet was still around, but not to the point of like it was in my hand, you know, like it was still, you still had to use the internet on the computer, but like it's all that information. It will be a lot easier to access instead of people asking like on Facebook or whatever. Like people still, you just won't have the people coming back to you and saying like, just don't go hunting, or you know, all the naysayers. You know?
Right.
So,
yeah.
I think it'd be the only thing that would like drastically change would be like how quickly people can get information instead of like all the information's out there, obviously.
Right. Yeah. It's all, you're right. It's all there.
That's what I found.
It's never going to change, you know, the skills of reading birds and understanding the behavior of birds. That stuff's never going to change. Like Ellithorpe said, anything natural, you're still going to have to get out there and learn it. I mean, but definitely it's going to give you an advantage starting out, because a lot of people don't have mentors, or maybe somebody lives in an apartment in New York City and they want to go duck hunting.
Oh, now it's crazy. I mean, like even when I first started learning like hunting on the lake, was like there was no Onyx, it was just maps, you know, and like I mean I had like GPS on my boat, but it wasn't like Onyx wasn't available and stuff like that. So it was learning from people where I can and can't go. And now I got people who will send me a screenshot of a spot on Onyx and be like, hey, can you hunt here? And it's like, you know, you got to kind of bite your tongue if you don't, like, you know, like people are going to find all the spots that you can hunt because they're just looking at, you know, I do the same thing. If I know the wind's going to be crazy one day, I'm looking on Onyx like, hey, what spots can I go to that will be protected from the wind? You know, stuff like that helps me. But finding spots now, like I'm sure you could go on ChatGPT and be like, where can I hunt on Lake Erie? And stuff will pop up.
That'll give you, like, I think we all would agree that we would use those tools to sort of kind of point us in the direction of where we got to go, but then we wouldn't rely on it 100%, right?
Plus 4.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot more out there that wouldn't either. My fear is, and what does it matter if it's my fear? Like, who the fuck am I to say, right? Like, but when it comes to hunting and fishing, and there is, like Halbleib said, like, you've got to read the birds. You've got to know what's going on. You got to, like, I'm not a fisherman, right? Like, I don't fish. I don't know fuck all about fishing. But the tattoo guy that I've been going to the last little bit, he's a huge muskie fisherman. And he's telling me, he was like, I book all my vacation, everything revolves around the moon phases. And I'm like, what? He was like, dude, he said, I don't know if it's true. He said, but muskie hit way better after a full moon. And he was like, that could be just fluke that it works out for me, but that's when I have my most success. He was like, so, like, and that's something he had to figure out on his own. Like a computer program didn't tell that to him, right? Like he figured it, and if it's true, remains to be seen. But that's when he has his best, you know what I mean? So
I'm sure you can learn a lot about moon phase and barometric pressure and all that stuff that, like, I hear Sean talk about when we're traveling. He talks about it, and it's like I have no clue about any of that stuff, but it's like stuff that he's learned that took him 20 years. I'm sure I could chat GPT it right now and have some sort of idea. And like, it's insane to me that it takes somebody so long to learn all that stuff. And then it's like, even people who are just starting out hunting, it's going to be the same way. They'll be like, should I use silhouettes for goose hunting? And it's something will pop up and be like, here's crazy information about the success rate of hunting with goose silhouettes that you wouldn't know otherwise unless you took a 5 dozen, 10 dozen silhouettes out into a field and see if anything came by. You know, it's
well, the good and the bad thing too is it may not capture like that old anecdotal information that you may have, but at the same time, like I think about my upbringing and around people like my grandmother who had all this crazy old bullshit information. Well, everybody's like, oh, you got to do it like the old boys used to do it. It's like, well, not always, because sometimes something it wasn't always right. Just because old knowledge isn't necessarily good knowledge or real knowledge, right? So that's where
it's
new
good
people
to work
starting
smarter.
out. But so like new people starting out, if they don't have that 20, 30 years of knowledge or somebody that can give it to them, they may still be able to sift through some of that. So something like AI may be able to give them something that's a little more accurate, or may not. But like for me, that's one thing I always come back to. It's like, again, people think, like that old knowledge, the people have been doing it this way forever. It's like, but there's lots of things that happen for hundreds of years. It doesn't mean, and then we got smarter and it's like, wait a minute, no, that was completely, no, we don't need to, we don't need to cut you and let your blood out to let the demons out or anything like that, right? Like just because they did it doesn't mean it's real, right? So like
was witchcraft the best idea of probably not.
But so like you may sift through some of that old, like even like the moon phases and that, like maybe it's accurate, maybe it's not, or maybe that guy got that in his head years ago because that's what somebody told him. So that's when he's out there more. So obviously his success is going to be higher because that's when he's out there. So if you're spending 90% of your time during this, if you're spending 90% of your time, you're going to have more success just because that's where all your effort's going. So is it a thing? Is it not? Right.
And by no means am I here to pass judgment on anybody. Like, you do whatever you want. I would like to see more people out hunting and more people, being vocal about hunting and getting their food or whatever it is that they're doing. I'm all for it, whatever gets them out, as long as it's done ethically and safe. Like I don't care. The more hunters out there, the better, in my opinion. I'm always curious on people that are trying to figure out new ways to attract more birds or new ways to set themselves up for success so that they're getting their birds. And it's interesting to me. I love hearing people's thoughts on it. I love picking people's brains on why they did what they did. And sometimes, like, man, I learned more out west last fall in the 2 months I was out west than I did my entire life duck hunting. Like it was mind blowing, the stuff that they were teaching me out there. And I was just like, what? Seriously? And these are fellas that have been doing it for fucking years and they've got paying clients, right? So it was just mind blowing. And I don't know. I love the knowledge part of it. I'm not, you got some people that are very historical, like when it comes to their geographical area, and they love the old ways of that stuff was done. I'm not so much that, but I do like the knowledge and the little stupid tidbits that someone would have picked up out of years and years of chasing birds. That's the stuff that I really love. I don't the history not so much, but the knowledge and the little tidbits. That's what I just absolutely love it.
Well, and I think that kind of stuff is helpful where, like, if you have a lot of knowledge on like waterfowl hunting, and like if you've done it for 30 years, you've also adapted through all of that. And so it's like you still run across people where it's like, yeah, the hunting's not as good as it was, 30 years ago or whatever the case is, but they're still successful because they've had to work through. I mean, it's just like any other area, or like even with fishing, it's like there's you run into these lulls, you run into pattern changes and whatever, terrain changes, whatever happens. It's those people that have the knowledge because of their experiences that they can adapt to whatever it's happening with nature. You know,
Well, I've heard
we
Bobby
tell people
Hayes.
about it all the time around here because it's always this big discussion of, well, Lake Erie used to be hundreds of thousands of mallards circling a blah blah blah, and it's like, have you gone out on the lake at the beginning of November and seen 40,000 divers get up? Like, it might not be mallards anymore.
Yeah.
But there's changes in like
Sure.
flight patterns and all breeding areas, whatever, you know, stuff change. I mean, they're all potholes. There's issues with droughts, stuff like that. It's like, what do you think is going to happen? They're not just going to go back there and be like, well, it was great, last year, but there's no water here. I might as well stick around. Like, it's, I don't know. All that stuff just kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, I can. The whole, well, duck hunting used to be way better. Was it?
Have you been to Missouri in November? Because I went in December last year, and it was the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing in Arkansas. It's like, you know, all these people saying, well, the duck hunting used to be better in Arkansas. Well, you didn't have hundreds of miles of duck clubs 6 hours north of you 10 years ago. So it's just, there's always going to be some reason for people to complain about ducks and patterns and all that stuff.
Here's the best one, and we'll end it on, this will be the last topic. This is the one because, Craig, and you can correct me on this because I'll probably screw up the numbers, but I believe the Canadian duck stamp has not increased in price in like 15 years, right? Like I
thought it went up a handful of years ago. Could be longer ago than that. I thought it went up like $1 or something like that.
And fellas were losing their mind.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, do you know where the duck stamp money goes? Like, it's not filling the coffers for the politicians. Like, that goes back into, you know, the habitat and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it's paying the wages for some scientist that's monitoring the breeding patterns or something like that, right? But it's $1. You spend more on that gas station burrito than what, you know what I mean? Like, it just, fellas will just find something to complain about. But
ours has
anyways,
been $25 since I started. I
yeah,
don't think it's gone up or gone down. The only difference is that now you used to only be able to pay cash for it, and now it's like you can buy them wherever you can buy them online.
Yeah.
I bought mine online last year through Michigan because Ohio doesn't do it, and they didn't send it to me until almost March.
Yeah,
so that's the only difference. Like our hunting, like our state hunting and fishing licenses have gone up. I don't pay attention, but
yeah,
it's gone up every other year, every 3 years or whatever. And like people will be like, well, 10 years ago it was $15 for a fishing license and now it's 21. It's like, really?
Yeah. Well, gas was a fraction of what that was then too. So I don't know. Fellas, people are going to find something to fucking complain about. That's just
100%. Absolutely.
Fellas, we've been going for about 80 minutes here now, and I don't think we've accomplished anything during this episode. So, which is par for the course, you know, like it's okay. To the listeners, if you are still listening to this episode, well done you. And I appreciate you for sticking it out this long. But again, it's, I don't know. I just try to keep it as close to what blind talk would be. And this is blind talk to me. This 100%. Is what happens in the blind.
For sure.
You know, other than, you know, a few jokes about this and that. Yeah. This is blind talk. So I like it. I hope everybody that's listening likes it. I hope you like and follow the podcast, and same with Migration Waterfowl, who's been doing had some great guests on lately, doing a great show. Brian Ellithorpe Media doing his thing when he's not fucking fixing flux capacitors. He's out there doing weddings and taking pictures, and
I'll start recording podcasts here in about a month. So
putting his 4-year-old in a boat and sending him off on Lake Erie by himself, you know. He's doing.
It's coming.
And then you got Craig that's just juggling everything and keeping us grounded with hey, yeah, everything is busy. And I appreciate all you guys for coming on and making time, coming and hanging out with me tonight and doing the show and the whole bit. We'll do a quick round the table and then we'll end her and let everybody carry on with their night. So let's go with Craig first, buddy.
Good talking to you guys. Good to have you both back on again. And I'm hoping next week, I think you said you've got a guest for next week, but I'm hoping I've got a guest of my own here that I can just pop on really quick next week. And
I'm looking forward to
some good news.
Yeah,
awesome. Snuffy.
Same old. Well, I'm trying to put up more reels and stuff on the Instagram page, so you guys can check some stuff out there. I'm still putting out YouTube videos. I decided to do them every other week for the spring, so I'll start recording podcast episodes in about a month, and those will release in August. And got a lot of cool stuff coming up this hunting season that I'm trying to organize right now. So we'll see.
I don't know how the fuck you do it, man. I don't know how you knit more time. I really don't know how you do it. My hat's off to you.
Bigger bags under my eyes. And stuff.
You need to retire, dude. You got to retire.
You're telling me. Somebody asked me at work today. They were like, "Hey, do you need anything?" And I was like, $3-4 million, and they're like, "Here's $1,000." I'm like, I'd fuck off for $1,000.
That's awesome. Halbleib. To you, buddy.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure catching up with you, gentlemen. Just a couple quick things. I'll be going to the Ducks Unlimited Expo in Memphis. I think it's August 1st through the 3rd.
Nice.
You can find me at probably either Rig'em Right, AV's Hunting, or Bluebird Waterfowl booth. I'll be bouncing around there. And Craig's got a little hunt put together for us in November, so I'm looking forward to that.
Steve and Lorianne, the ones that are running that show, and invited us, and I threw Brian's name out there, so he's coming. Awesome. We got a little side quest for the Friday before we get there, and
a little stop with Jack Miner.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
That sounds like a fucking blast. I hope I'm going to self-invite myself, but I hope I'm back in Ontario by that time.
I really do.
What's that?
It'll be the end of November.
End of November. Oh, I'm definitely back the end of November. Now, if Lorianne, Steve, if you're listening, I've just invited myself to this hunt. If you don't like it, you can strap on a set and come talk to me about it. And we'll figure something out. No, I'm just joking. Oh, that's awesome, buddy. I'm happy for you. The Ducks on that Memphis thing, that should be a good time. I really wish I could have made the Delta one in Oklahoma City, but it's just...
Yeah, I can't make that one this year.
Well, it's just, there's a lot of, I don't know what's real in the news anymore, man. Like some people are saying, Canadians are getting a hard time at the borders. You're hearing that on the news, and then you'll hear some people say, no, I've crossed over the border and it's fine. And you don't know what's real and what's fake anymore. Like it's a very, very weird time in human history. And the last 5-6 years, I think it'll go down as our dumbest part on our dumbest time period on the planet Earth. And it started with COVID.
Yeah.
Anyways, I won't drag this out any longer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Surround yourself with good people. This is the Union 0430 podcast. We are not experts, nor will we ever pretend to be. Just a group of friends that love hanging out and just talking anything, really. Big love. See you next time.